Steve Jobs. I'm like, why the fuck would I want to have? Why would I want to have a statue of Steve Jobs in my flat? I've got no idea. So we had a laugh about it. So anyway, I said, leave it here. A few hours later, I said, oh, that was right. I had my Benefit Street night and a few days later. So he goes, tell you what, raffle it off. Great solution. So we decided we'll put this in the raffle, right? 5 hours later, Dave rings me, a mate who gave me this, and goes, I've looked on eBay. These are going for 100 quid. 100 quid on eBay, these are going for. So I raffled it off, and my mate wanted it. I've yet to give it him, but I want it out of my flat as quickly as possible. He's even got the devil's tail at the back. Yeah. So yeah, there you go, Steve Jobs. My DJ name is Pete Woosh. I've got a real name as well, but I might not give that one away on here. Yeah, I've been DJing some 30 years nearly now. Started DJing, well, I didn't really start, I don't remember starting DJing really. I collected records for a long time. From being about 12, 13, I started collecting records. First records I got given were, I was 12, I got The Clash, Give Me Enough Rope, and the Jam on My Cons for my birthday, for Christmas, sorry. And that started the process then, really. My brother was big into records before, he was into the Northern Soul scene, but I used to listen to 7 inches. I mean, Mum's Frank Sinatra records and stuff like that. Just when I was knocking around, and that sort of sparked some musical interest. But yeah, in earnest, it really started when I got those 2 Christmas presents, and then things started rolling along, and I sort of got into, like, you know, it is when you're a teenager, you're quickly going through this and that, trying to look for what you're into, you know what I mean? So I was going through this, that, bit of rock, bit of hippie, bit of like mod, bit of like punk, bit of anything I could come across, you know what I mean? Like, sort of just finding your feet in it. A big thing for me that I'll say happened was when I was 14. Me and my mates were like, my rock mates at the time, like, let's go to a gig in Manchester, you know what I mean? Quite a big thing. I'm from Bolton originally, which is a satellite town of Manchester, a bit out of the way. Big night out, me and my mates, let's go to Manchester to watch Thin Lizzy. So we went to get our tickets like 14-year-olds do, you know what I mean? Box office, got there too late because it was like sold out. What shall we do next? Who shall we go and see? Let's see somebody else. Turned out to be Hawkwind instead of Thin Lizzy, and ended up going to quite a seminal gig as it turned out. It was one that was recorded for one of their albums, Live 79, which became quite a big album for them, and it blew my mind, let's just put it that way, do you know what I mean? And sent me off on a bit of a different path. Not into hippiedom, but hippiedom and punkdom and indie alternative, a whole festival route that became sort of prevalent within the DIY sound system network that came through later on. That kind of sparked that interest when we seen Hawkwind in 1979. Yeah, so I started collecting records in earnest and voraciously, really. Couldn't stop. It became an obsession, to the detriment of school, to the detriment of A levels, but I still managed to front my way through them and onto a degree. But all the way through, I've continued to buy records, not with the idea of being a DJ, but more just because I collected them. It wasn't until probably 1990, when I moved to Nottingham from Bolton, that DIY was in its infancy at that point. And I decided, we were putting on little club nights and little parties. Because I had records, I became a room 2 DJ for DIY with my mate Dig, so I used to DJ partners became. We became room 2, so we had Simon, DK, Jack, Pez, the rest from DIY in the main room. Me and my mate Rick were in the second room just playing anything and whatever went. That kind of grew into something else itself. We called ourselves at that point Digs and Woosh, or Digs and Woosh, but also we had a moniker of Serve Chilled, which was a radio show that we did and a club night that we did at the Cookie Club when it was in a different place in Nottingham. We did a club night for 5 years every Tuesday night, which is quite an incredible feat in itself, consecutively every Tuesday for 5 years, called Serve Chilled, which was a radio show on the club night. So that takes me to about the early 90s. Well, like I said, I didn't really intend to be a DJ. It just happened, really. I got caught up in the whole DIY thing after moving here. That took off massively around about 1990. I'd say I've got left 3,000-4,000, something like that. I don't know. Without just counting off the top of my head. I've sold 2,500 recently. So if you'd have come here a few months ago, it looked very different around here. But I decided to have a big purge because I've been trying for, or should have, let's say, for 20 years. Or maybe it's the sort of job you need to keep on top of as you go along, but don't do. You know what I mean? Because your tastes change quite a lot over the years. You're not into especially with house music, which is what I've been booked to play traditionally. Your tastes change quite a lot. Stuff you into in 1992 doesn't sound quite the same as it does now, or your taste change, you know what I mean? So I had to get rid of a lot. It was all a bit of a mess before I've sort of sorted it all out a bit better, really. So it's good that you come down now, not 6 months ago, put it that way, yeah. This is what I'm down to now, really, pretty much, on the house music. Most of the 2,500 that sold was house music, really, a lot of it. So I'm left with what's in here. The idea was to just get it down to a manageable level, really, because it's just, just too many records sometimes. You can't see the wood for the trees and all that. So I spent a lot of time earlier on this year. I went through all 2,500 records. I listened to every single one of them, tracked through them all. So I wanted to make sure that, or tried to make sure, I'm sure some went through the net, but pretty much what I've got left are records that I'm happy with now, really, and I don't have to look through. The idea is I can just go on the shelf and play any of these in any order and they'll fit. That's the plan. Whether it works or not, I don't know. There's quite a lot attached to this, but it's travelling around America, I think. We were booked to play in the United States, well, around the world a lot in the 90s. We were travelling a hell of a lot in the early 2000s. America, France, Canada, Japan, all over the place. But in America particularly, and Canada, the pickings were amazing for a long time. All the charity shops are called thrift stores, like they're called, and you go in there, you get like, San Francisco particularly was good because you get all the charity shops selling stuff for like 50 cents, $1. And what was going on in the early 90s in San Francisco was there's a lot of DJs dying of AIDS at that point, or had been, do you know what I mean? So quite a lot of collections were ended up filtered into charity shops. So you could go and get quite amazing records. You won't be able to get them now, it's just been picked, America has really, but at that point you could just go and get really quite rare records, promos, DJ promos, all that kind of thing. So that was, we were going around. San Francisco was probably the best place for that, I think. Do you know what I mean? My favourite thing is getting something for like 10 cents. I've got no interest in records that cost. I haven't even got much interest in records that cost 20 quid, really. You know what I mean? For me, the thrill is finding something that's like in a box behind a load of crap that you wouldn't even pay any attention to, but you might find one thing for like 50p. That's where the magic lies for me, really. But yeah, in general, going around America, I think, finding stuff like that, Atlanta, San Francisco, Dallas, New York, Philadelphia, Montreal, Toronto, all kinds of places, yeah. No, in a nutshell, not really. They're all good in different ways. Yeah, yeah. In the 90s, yeah, I can't really say because, I mean, obviously you've got your house, your shops that you shop at for dance music, you know, and then you've got all the other places, like I said, where they were a bit more off the beaten track, you know, so I can't think of one. Arcade Records was good in the early 90s for buying house music. Pound Paste was good in Nottingham for buying house music in the early 90s. Particularly good, those two. But no, not really one that sticks into mind. Without going through it all, I don't know what most of it's worth. I don't really value records in terms of monetary terms. Do you know what I mean? They're all like, they're worth what you invest in them emotionally or memories or whatever you use them for. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know what my rarest record is. I've got no idea. I've got some records that are worth 10 pence. I've got some records that are worth 100 quid, but they're all worth the same to me. One story that just springs to mind that happened in the last couple of months was I was going through some records around here with a friend of mine late one night, and we were listening to some disco and that, and this record popped out that I hadn't even listened to. I don't think I'd ever listened to it, I'll be honest with you, before. And we were like, oh, what's this? You know, we'll stick this on. And, oh, that's not bad. And my mate was like, oh, I see how much that is on disco, because I won't mind getting a copy for myself. And I must apologise, the name of it is gone from me for this minute, but the record turned out to be worth 140 quid, and one of them just sold for 140 quid, so it wasn't like it was like some mythical 140 quid, it was actually worth that. And my mate didn't buy it, but I gave him mine in the end, because he really liked it, and that's what records are, aren't they? They're for like sharing out, and like music is for sharing out, really. It's not, that's why it doesn't have any monetary value to me, you know what I mean, because music's for sharing, like records are for sharing, you know. I got given a record recently that could be the worst record I've ever had. I'm not listening to it yet, but we shall soon find out. God knows what this is going to be like. It's a strange intro. But Derbyshire Finest. Hey up me duck. The Sherland Miners Welfare Band. My good friend Noel Kilbride gave me this a few weeks back. Occasionally I like to make postcards when the urge takes me. So this postcard, these three recent ones, this postcard was a phrase that was rattling around in my head for some time. I went to Cornwall on holiday and we were by a cliff at Waterfront Bay, me and my girlfriend Kate. And we found all these bits of shale off the cliff and that, and bits of rock, and I decided to make the phrase in my head into sort of reality, really, and that was it. We are all of this earth. And this is a postcard that I made a couple of years ago, just before the election, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, and it's the broken rifle symbol. That is an old peace symbol which I've appropriated and stuck the anarchy colours on there, black and red, because it's something that I firmly believe in. And I put a bit of text on the back, which is, this is not a polling card. So I gave these to people even on election day outside polling stations, but it wasn't a polling card, even though just a bit of a piss take about, you know, going into the polling booths. So this card entitled you to take a rethink on how we all got to here. Think about the things that shape this world around us. Think about the person that you walk past every day who has been beaten down by society, that stopped caring when they lost their job. Think about the birds you hear singing as the day starts, who struggle to find food or places to nest as their habitats constantly change. Sorry, I need to do that again. Can I start it again?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
This is not a polling card. This card entitles you to have a rethink on how we all got to here. Think about the things that shape this world around us. Think about that person you walk past every day who has been beaten down by society that stopped caring when they lost their job. Think about the birds you hear singing as the day starts. The birds who struggle to find food or places to nest as their habitats constantly change due to our insistence on chasing capital gain. There is a better way to do this. Through cooperation, collectivism and activism, we can make a difference. That's that one. This one is the recent card around the recent election. Democracy, a thinly veiled disguise wrapped around each and every one of us. Fairly self-explanatory, I think. Especially in the light of what's happened in the recent government shake-up, should we say. There we go. They're my postcards. So there you go. Right, okay, starting with Miles Davis, going into McCoy Tyner, Pharoah Sanders. These are all people who played with Miles Davis up to about, well, to here, and then people who played with bands who were formed out of Miles Davis's band, you know what I mean? So you've got Miles Davis, then John Coltrane, McCoy Tyner, Pharoah Sanders, Leon Thomas, Herbie Hancock, Lon Smith, and then we're going into sort of stuff that splintered off from that lineage as well. People like Donald Byrd, Roy Ayers, Norman Connors, John Clemmer, Grover Washington, Bobby Hutcherson, Jazz Crusaders. Then we get into more, it splits off now into smaller sections, people like Stanley Cowell, Stanley Clarke, Gil Scott-Heron, Last Poets. What have we got here? Let's just pull an album out of the sleeve. Miroslav Vitas from Weather Report, Mountains in the Clouds. What else have we got here? And then moving along, we've got jazz compilations here. Moving down section, this is reggae music here. Reggae albums and a few twirls. This is all Latin music here. People like Flora Purin, Sergio Mendes, Azimuth, Ruben Blades, Mongo Santa Maria, Bobby Matos. Just in general Latin music really. And then keeping going, Fela Kuti, people like that, African stuff. And the rest of this is single jazz albums really, all this section here. People that, there's not enough to give them sections, so. Moving down, right. For want of a better expression, well, not one I like. Now let's call it, yeah, instead of easy listening, call it crooners down here. Frank Sinatra, bit of Cleo Lane, bit of weird stuff. Dusty Springfield in here, Brenda Lee, Nat King Cole, all that kind of stuff. Classical, bit of blues. This here is factory records here. They're factory records. And this is 4AD records. These are all world music, basically. And then we're going to, this is quite an interesting section that I like. This is Steve Reich, Harold Budd. This is all kind of offbeat, what do you call it, ambient, atmospheric music. I don't know really what you'd call it, but people in here like Miraji, John Hassell, Harold Budd, Stockhausen, a bit off the beaten track there. Can, Kraftwerk, people like that. And then onto the bottom, we've got On You Sound in here. That's all On You Sound, which unfortunately my ex-girlfriend's cat got hold of this a few years ago. Can you see they're all a bit twatted along the sides, which is a bit of a shame, but you know. These are pretty cool though. Some of my favourite labels this is on New Sound of all time, I think. Very influential and very influential, and not only did it release reggae, it released some quite seminal dance music, I think, and which was very influential in the later years on the DIY sound that we used to play. It was all produced by a guy called Amy Sherwood. So you've got Carrie Clow, Tackhead. Let me see. Let me try and find a Tackhead that you like. This is one of my favourite ever on New Sound. This is probably my favourite on New Sound record ever. By Tackhead, Wind at the End of the Tether. Amazing record. Right. Soundtracks. Again, something that I really like, soundtracks. There's quite a lot of them here. This is all soundtracks and spoken word up to about here. Stuff like your standard BBC sound effects. What's this here? Reverend Jesse Jackson, I Am Somebody. An album of jingles, radio jingles from the USA. We dedicate this album to all the DJs who like their job. What else is in here? Soundtrack that I particularly like there, The Mission. Am I probably, is it in here? No, it's not. It's over there. My favourite soundtrack is one to the film Diva. I don't know if you've ever seen the film Diva. The soundtrack to that is incredible. That's in that those boxes just over there. This here is, we're going into sort of indie rock 80s albums here, and then the same again, 12 inches. So that's that little pile of records there. As far as album covers are concerned, you've got some brilliant ones in here, I think. You've got things like that, John Coltrane On, which is pretty nice. You've got far out stuff like, and let's have a look what we've got here. For me, album covers are like, it's like artwork, like pieces of art. They're all like pieces of art. So selecting one is really difficult. It's like asking what your favourite piece of artwork is. I like a lot of art. So let's just pull a few things out. Let's pull Alanis Smith out. That's not particularly great album cover, but it's not bad. Let's pull something else out. Let's pull something out at random. That's quite nice. Brazil Classics Volume 1. Not bad. That's fine. Let's just go in randomly, I think. Let's just pull in, pull out. Curry Jazz. There you go. It's quite a bit of India and a bit of jazz. Can't go wrong with that. Curry and a jazz. Good night out. What I've got here. I like this cover. This is pretty good. Hamza El Din. The Music of Nubia. I quite like that cover. It's pretty cool. Right. What else is there? The Beautiful Zion Choir featuring Emma Richards in the Spirit. Pretty cool. Nice cover. This is quite a weird one. Phases of the Moon. Pretty cool on the front. Bit battered on the back, but you know, Traditional Chinese music, that one is. This is kind of what I play out for when I do The Angel in Nottingham on a Sunday afternoon. I've got a gig down there which is my kind of, I jokingly refer to it, but it's not a joke really, it's one of my dream gigs really. It's playing records for people eating Sunday dinner. So I get to play all the stuff on those shows and in here, which is kind of weird stuff like electronic and contemporary music from Brazil, things like that. Mohammed Gubaru, The Sounds of Sudan is in here, Gil Scott Heron, Dr. John, D.D. Bridgewater. That's a beautiful album, that is, really is amazing. Robert Fripp and Brian Eno. I'll play anything down there on a Sunday afternoon really, anything at all. Rosary Connection, weird Italian live music, jazz, I mean anything goes on a Sunday afternoon, so this is all that stuff really. Stuff like that. I like this cover I do actually, don't know why, but I do. That's a good cover. And this is my favourite ever soundtrack, Diva. Amazing film and a really, really gorgeous soundtrack that is. This is what I play out of. This is my current house bag here, house music bag. What I'm playing out of at the minute, those two. So when I do a house set, that's the easiest one, means to go to straight away. No. Is a classic DIY record, let's say, from the mid-90s. Big massive track for us that we used to play. It's Masters at Work, basically. India was Little Louis Vega's wife, and she had an amazing voice as well, and they did this record, Masters at Work, and her incredible record called Love and Happiness, which works for me. This is a good new house label actually. Swedish Brandy, that's quite a good label. This stuff in here is DIY related material. So all that in here, all this is all DIY stuff. Because I'm part of a sound system called DIY. And we've had our own labels called, first it was called Strictly for Groovers, and then it was called DIY Discs. And we also had a Downtempo label called DIY Diversions as well. So all that over there is DIY music, and in here, as well as old cassettes that we released years ago, some DATs from nights that we put on. These are all DIY CDs that we released in here. So yeah, this is all DIY. This is my history really. This is it, all this stuff, to be honest with you. Books that we've been in. So these are sort of DIY records that we released. There was some of white labels like DIY 62, which I can't remember what that one was off the top of my head. This is on one of our downbeat labels. This is a very early release that we put out by Deadbeats. He later went on to do stuff for Fat City on that. These are all white labels in here. This is a record I released, or a friend of mine released. Me and my mate Rick did a remix for it on here on a New York label. These are all DIY records. So that's one. This is one by a guy called Nail. Some of you may have heard of. That's his first EP. Or it might not. This is one of his early EPs for us. The Beaston EP. This is, I think. the Beeston EP. There you go. Beeston, Nottingham. Nail was from Beeston, obviously. So that's that. What else have we got in here? Another we released some 90 odd releases DIY did in the end. That's another one. We licensed that track from America. These are some DIY records that we released. The first That Jazz album we put out. DIY Diversions release. Serve Chill, one of our Serve Chill compilations from the Downtempo stuff. First Serve Chill compilation. Early Diversions release. Knots Landing EPs. We did 3 EPs for DIY, which released as an album called Knots Landing, which was all Nottingham related producers and DJs. This is the first DIY release on Walk Records, which is a Hothead EP. More DIY. This is a compilation that DIY is featured on. A remix me and Rick did on that. This is an EP by me and Rick, Diggs and Woosh and Mr. Ski EP. It's an EP by Javon we put out. This is a track. We had a track featured on this. This album's called No Repetitive Beats, and it was to highlight the campaign we were involved in, which was the Anti-Criminal Justice Bill campaign in the mid-90s, which was something that's quite important to us at the time. So we had a track on that. So yeah, in here, like I said, there's all kinds of other DIY stuff in there as well. It's like asking me why I breathe, really. You know what I mean? Because music is part of my life. Even though I like to sit in silence quite a lot of the time, music is so ingrained in my head that yeah, that's it really.